Nothing to do with my grandfather's UAW. What UAW are we observing into the weekend?
We're observing a UAW that is really trying to get its mojo back, right? This is a union that has given up a lot of concessions over the last couple of decades to try and get these companies at first back on their feet and then thriving. That is what we've seen. We were talking during the break about the sort of carpocalypse days of 2008 and 2009. The union gave up an awful lot to help these companies to have a future out of that crisis. Putting their retirement benefits and healthcare benefits, either doing away with them or putting them on the unions, making them union liabilities. We now have a union that is trying to claw some of that back, and companies kind of using this massive transformational change coming to this industry as a sort of wedge to resist that after 4 years of very strong profits from them.
What is the singular power in negotiations that the UAW has right now?
I think they have. We were talking just a few minutes ago about how tight the labor market is in the U.S. I do think the fact that we are regularly still hearing about challenges on the part of these companies with finding a skilled workforce. I think it's going to be something that we'll hear more and more about as we're hearing about thousands of workers being hired at battery plants across the country to meet the Biden administration's objectives to go electric, to make this transition from combustion engines to batteries. You're going to need a lot of people for that, and you're going to need people who know how to make stuff. And that is what the union has in its favor, is a lack of many people left anymore who have that experience.
There are hundreds of cars that are not being produced right now, cars and trucks, because of the strikes. How much is this going to jack up car prices?
I think actually it will depend, of course, on what we hear even just tomorrow from the union in terms of what their next move is. At this point, we're hearing about 3 plants that have gone down about a week now. That isn't really going to be enough to meaningfully change things. You have also working in the company's favor the fact that over the last 6 to 8 months or so, with the chip crisis easing to a significant degree, they had a lot of inventory going into this strike versus what they would have had just a year ago.
A lot of factories outside of the U.S., in particular in Asia, have a significant proportion of robots doing a lot of the work. Is the U.S. moving in that direction? And is this basically accelerating those discussions behind closed doors among certain executives?
I think you do still see a trend toward automation, but I do think that it's also the case that you're going to need a lot of labor even to do manufacturing of batteries and electric vehicles that have fewer moving parts. Even Tesla has an awful lot of people at their plants in California and Texas and in Shanghai. You do still need a lot of labor to put these vehicles together. So is there a sort of ever moving change toward more automation? Absolutely. Are these companies still going to need a lot of people? That's still the case as well.